Welcome back to welcome back to another edition of Hops and Houses. We just had a 5-minute rough draft without the record button going.
Yeah, it was brilliant, and that shit's just gone. And you missed the amazing head we had on these celebration ales. I mean,
Don't think about that sentence too much.
I'm not. No, but look, I mean, on my glass, it's all the way up there. This is
like that big.
It was undrinkable at that point, but now it's drinkable.
Yeah.
See, we're restarting, so it's time for our Christmas ales.
Yeah.
And I think we've done this every year.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been doing this for a few years. Anyway, this is Celebration Fresh Hop. It's a 6.8 ABV, and it tastes just like almost every other Sierra Nevada beer.
Yeah. And excuse the new setup. We're doing a 2-camera thing today, so we're kind of getting used to like not staring, straight on into the light with our teleprompter. We don't know what to say now, so
we never had a teleprompter. We just make this shit up.
True.
So it is. So anyway, let's see. Fed.
Big news today. The Feds came out as we expected, and they lowered their rate by 0.25%,
which was awesome.
Until it wasn't, because of the Fed meeting. Jerome Powell opened his mouth, and then everything
shit the bed.
Absolutely, and markets just reacted poorly to that because he said unexpectedly, we are changing our forecast for next year. We're not going to lower rates by 1%. We're going to look to lower rates by 0.5%. But of course, if the labor market breaks, we can do it quickly. We can be nimble on our feet. I think paraphrase kind of what he said. And the stock market hated that, started to tank, and then mortgage rates went up. And by the end of the day, I got an alert to lock this morning, and I locked one of my refi clients in. Valerie's hearing this story for the 3rd time now. And then by the end of the day,
and I'm acting like I'm interested.
Yeah, thank you, like a good friend. By the end of the day, rates had gone up about 0.25%. There was about a 50 basis point drop in the bond market. And so one of the things we just covered, which I'll cover again really quickly, is I think rates will continue to go down a little bit because the Feds are buying bonds. They started doing that about a month and a half ago. And having the Feds be a purchaser of bonds is a form of quantitative easing.
Yes.
And it has historically lowered rates. And when they sell bonds, it increases rates. And it usually takes months, 6 to 9 months, before we really start to see that impact. But it does have an impact. And then additionally, if the new administration and the new Elon Doge thing can really get spending under control, this is one thing that international institutional investors look at in our bond market. And
right.
Because you're a trader on Wall Street, that if we're facing a debt crisis that's 10 years out because we can't get our spending under control, but we start to turn that ship in the right direction, and we'll hopefully see renewed optimism. And when there's an international disaster, like a country going bankrupt or an earthquake or a tsunami or something, money pours into our bond market. And that means our mortgage rates go down very quickly.
Right.
And I would like to see us get back to the safe haven for the world's money. And right now we're not there, and I want to see us get back there. So I'm optimistic. My forecast is we're going to be in the 6s, and that aligns with some economists out there that are looking at this. We've been around 6.6, 6.8 for the last, that's the average for the last couple of weeks. And then we had 5 days of steady, tiny little increases in rates till today when we ended up and we're over 7, just over 7 today. At the end of the day, we'll see where this goes, but it was definitely unfortunate news that we didn't want to hear right before Christmas.
Thanks, Jerome.
Yeah.
Jesus.
That guy cannot quit his job fast enough.
Just when I started to stop hating the guy and thinking, he turns around and makes a mess of everything.
Well, his decisions really impact, the economy. They just simply do.
And they do. And it's he's not looking at the housing sector like he should be. And the housing sector leads us into recession, and it leads us out of recession.
I agree. Yeah.
And it's 16% of the economy. And he has to look at us. Mm-hmm. And the one thing that's housing starts, I think they're up a smidge. I think
they are, which is good.
Yeah, they're up a smidge, which means which is good because you don't want construction labor, especially in new housing, being laid off. Now, we do have a bunch of multifamily stuff that was started 2 years ago, and that's wrapping up. And those guys, there's no new anything for those guys right now.
Talking mortgages?
No, I'm talking about work.
Okay.
So if you are working on a 35 unit build out, there's not another 35 unit build out coming behind that you can work on, or a 100 unit build out, or whatever. Mm-hmm. So now you're looking to pivot into single family, condos, that kind of stuff. So that's where we're going to see some weakness in the job market, is in that sector.
Yeah,
for sure.
Can we pivot real quick from this and open that naughty stout? Is that a naughty stout that I see?
It is.
Did you want to start with the other one first?
I think this is going to be lighter than that. This is I love Sammy Smith. I have always liked the old brewery in Tadcaster. How do you say it? Yorkshire?
Yorkshire, yeah.
Yeah. Because I know you don't say it's like Worcestershire.
Worcestershire?
No, you don't say that. Worcester. So anyway, I drank a ton of Sammy Smith back in the day, and they used to have, this one doesn't have it, they used to have something under the cap, and
Oh, like
I can't remember what
are
it was.
those little malt liquors? The Mickey's? Mickey's always have riddles under the cap.
Yeah, it wasn't anything that intelligent. They're British after all.
Sick burn. Did you hear Trudeau might resign?
I did, and I also was listening to Krugman today, and he was talking about the tariff situation, and what he said was, which I thought was hilarious, is that the Canadians are pissed off, and he's like, it takes a lot to piss off Canadians.
Totally, yeah, it does, for sure. Yeah, well, gosh, I'm going to butcher this, I should look this up, but one of his cabinet ministers resigned. Her name is Christina, I want to say, in protest over, like, the handling of the incoming tariffs. And then, is it Harmeet Singh? Harmeet Singh, he's the head of one of the parties that had aligned with Trudeau for a long time, I think is calling for Trudeau's resignation. They tried to push a vote of no confidence. It didn't go through today.
Interesting.
And he may prorogate, which means he may end the parliamentary session until the new year, which would give him time to kind of force off a resignation or a forced resignation. But his favorability is like at an all-time low, and he's trying desperately to stay in power. He did like a tax break just now, so he like said from now until like January or something, Canadians aren't going to pay tax on, they pay tax on a lot of things in Canada, like when you buy it, like sales taxes. So he's doing like a temporary sales tax pause to give people a break. Because a lot of people are pissed off about some of the taxes, and like farmers are pretty upset about the carbon tax that he put on there, and that's going to get repealed in the next election, whoever wins, because that's kind of what's driving a lot of this. But it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Huh.
Yeah. All right, cheers.
Cheers. Let's see what this is. Well, that's good.
That is delightful.
Wow.
I'm going to send you to Bevmo more.
I did good. Well, I'm going to put this up on so everybody could see it. That's delicious. What do they say on the back about it? It's a winter welcome ale.
Yeah.
This seasonal beer is limited edition, brewed for the short days and long nights of winter. The full body resulting from fermentation in stone, Yorkshire squares, and luxurious malt character, which will appeal to a broad range of drinkers. Appeals to these two drinkers, and is balanced against a whole dried Fugel and Golding hops with nuances and complexities that should be contemplated before an open fire.
Nice.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, that's a great description. It is welcoming. It is it's not bitter. It doesn't bite you. It's got good complexity. It's light-bodied. It's not terribly malty that it's scaring you off with sugar. I mean, there's just a lot of nice things happening in this.
It's ale. A 6%er. So actually the celebration was beefier than this on the alcohol.
6% is good. Any more than that, that would kind of ruin this.
Yeah.
This is something that I would expect to drink if I walked into like a countryside pub in England in December. I would want them to pour me this. This is delicious.
Oh my God, this is so good.
Yeah, please more. So what do we see going on with housing? I know last time we talked, I had brought up the stat that the head of Compass had just put out where 60% of listings were sitting more than 30 days in the Bay Area. Are we seeing a worsening of that, a betterment of that?
It's not good. But, it's funny. I spend too much time thinking, and I should just stop.
Yeah, don't think. Yeah.
Yeah, because one of the things I'm thinking about is what does Space Force actually do?
They took over the Navy and maybe the Army, but primarily the Navy was taking on increasing duties in related to outer space and like satellites, and we have a lot of intelligence that we use up in space. And so I think when the Trump administration initially created the Space Force, that branch of the military now is independent, and that's their sole focus is, threats from space and assets in space and how we use it for, intelligence gathering and different things like that. I mean, it's good because, you've got a lot of countries launching satellites up there.
Right.
And we use satellites for a host of things, especially for spyware stuff,
and
right?
We've got pretty cool satellites.
We do have really cool satellites, yeah.
And basically tell us, we should already know what Putin had for breakfast today.
Totally.
which
No,
is really tomorrow right now. In
we
Russia.
have really great capabilities. I thought it was a cool thing to do, and probably needed. I don't really know enough about it to speak intelligibly. I think it's cool that we have a space force. I think it's like a really cool sounding like military branch. But what do they do? I think they do duties that the Navy used to do, and now the Navy's more focused on what the Navy.
Yeah,
does.
because I've been thinking about it's like I don't like the privatization of anything involved with our government because I think the business of our government is to serve the people. It's not to make money. It's not to be traded on the New York Stock Exchange. It's not to pay a CEO, $22 million or any of that shit, which is what's going to happen if you privatize this stuff. However, it was pointed out to me that all four branches have their own Air Force, basically. And it's like, well, yeah, we're buying all these planes and painting them different ways. And it's like, well, maybe we just let the Air Force do Air Force shit.
Well, the Navy has more. I could be totally wrong. You could totally butcher for this, but I think the Navy has more planes in the sky at any given time than the Air Force actually does.
I wouldn't be surprised by that.
And I think it's something like a third or a quarter of their planes are like in the air at all times. Like we have a lot of stuff going out all the times, and this is a threat deterrence thing. Like
well, I understand that, but it's like, well, if we have four Air Forces, maybe there's a redundancy place that we can have one Air Force that maybe flies the Army guys where they need to go and maybe flies the Marines where they go and flies the Navy.
Yeah, I mean, I've talked about this a couple of times with some friends recently, and I can't hate to bring it up because it gets into controversial territory, but honestly, like if what the new administration is proposing they can actually do on some of these fronts, it's just stuff like there's stuff that needs to be done. Like if Elon can really and Vivek can like really go in there and cut government spending and turn the ship around, needs to be done. If we can really go in and like refine our defense spending and figure out like the Pentagon is, they can't account for like what $20 billion or $2 billion, whatever. They come up with these insane numbers, and you think if you ever hired somebody and they came back to you and said, "I'm sorry, we just can't account for a couple $1 billion that we gave you,"
that would be a problem.
They'd be fired, and in so many cases they'd be prosecuted and they'd spend the rest of their lives in jail. And so I just think it's really reckless that we're in this state. And I agree. I don't think we should be privatizing things, except for the DMV. That would be really great if they could be privatized because they suck.
Well, no, that's the state of California, and the state of California pretty much sucks at everything they do, and that's California problem.
Yeah. But I want to talk about housing really quick, and I talked about this on another podcast recently. Somebody said to me, like, what's driving home prices up? Well, in a healthy real estate economy, and we've been doing this podcast like 7, 8 years now.
Low inventory.
Yeah. You've heard me say this like umpteenth time.
Yeah, that's what's driving it. It's low inventory.
It's low inventory. And I said what should drive it in a healthy economy is income. Right? Yeah. So if incomes are going to go up 2 to 3% per year, home prices should go up a little bit slower than that.
Yeah.
We had outpaced depreciation because of artificially low interest rates. We have outpaced depreciation because of low inventory. And what really needs to be done, and there's a little bit of infighting, but the Democrats are coming around on this, at least the ones that are leading the ship that matter in California, is the YIMBY movement, is the Yes in My Backyard, is the we have to build, we have to reduce regulation, we have to get things off the ground. And the reason I say infighting is because this is kind of at odds with the long-standing, decades-long environmentalists that have reduced the ability to move forward in the overregulation in that industry. And I think we all want to be conscientious of regulation, especially in regards to the environment, in regards to sacred lands, and to repurposing of Native American burial sites, et cetera. And we need to be able to do that in a fast-paced environment to move things forward, because the need for housing is not present. It's overdue, I would say, right?
We haven't, for the last 15 years, we have not been building, right? Longer than that, probably about 18 years. We should be, and for this to be a healthy housing economy, we should be adding roughly, as a country, 400,000 units a year, every year, without fail.
And not just in Texas. Like California needs a lot of those. In fact, more than probably Texas, because some places keep up with their formations.
Right, and we have not kept up with our housing formations, and it has driven some people out of state. But the problem now is people have left California and they want to come back. They're like, "Ooh, we don't like it here." And now what?
I know. I was talking to my friend today, and he's a tech guy, and he's like, "Yeah, my wife wants to buy this house, and it's like 1.7 or whatever it is." And he's like, "I've just offered the landlord 20% over. I want to get it, whatever it is, but she wants something really specific." And I said, "Let's just go to Dallas. I can buy us an amazing house in Dallas." And she was like, "No, we're not doing that." Right? She doesn't want to live in Dallas. I mean, the thing is, California has one of the most beautiful climates in the world. And unfortunately, we have a political system that can be frustrating at times. We have taxes that are higher than other places, but we have a beautiful, beautiful state. a beautiful climate and occasional tornadoes in Santa Cruz. You weren't expecting that one.
No, I didn't see that one coming.
You saw that, right?
My brother got the warning.
Oh, he did?
In San
Did
Francisco.
you see the video of the tornado that tore through Scotts Valley?
Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah.
I didn't even know we could get tornadoes here.
We don't. So when my brother looked at it, he's like, what the hell is this? Because he was expecting an earthquake warning.
Yeah.
And he's already had earthquake warnings, tsunami warnings. And he's like, tornado?
Yeah. Climate change isn't real.
And no, does not exist.
I like to slip that in every once in a while just for the viewers at home. Now, it's funny. I mean, it's crazy. If you told me when I was a kid we'd have a tornado in California, I'd be like, oh, you're absolutely no way. I mean, have you ever heard of it? I mean, there's been like twisters in Sacramento, but I mean, tornado in Scotts Valley?
No.
Come on.
And that was a fierce storm for
It's a serious tornado.
Yeah, but the whole storm that it came through here last
Yeah.
weekend was fierce. And we never, it's like,
Yeah.
that's like a January, February storm for us. That's
Totally.
like a spring storm for us. That is not a,
Yeah.
first week of December storm.
Totally. Yeah.
So
we had the tsunami warning, and then we had the tornado warning. That was crazy. I mean, if you told me tsunami warning in Concord, I'd be like, come on. And then tornado warning.
yeah, and I
Yeah. So back to housing, like,
how do we get? Oh, we were talking about not building enough houses.
yeah.
It's interesting. I was looking at what everybody was predicting. I think on Lab Coats, Tristan put up something showing what everybody's prediction was for appreciation. Nobody predicted anything but appreciation in housing nationwide. And the numbers went clear to almost 6%. And nationwide, 6% is a crazy number.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be that high. to be honest.
I don't think so nationwide. The one, NAR came in, I think, at like 3.1 nationwide, which I think makes sense. Housing Wire, I think, came in at like 3.6 or something.
How do you
like
square that with like seasons like we have now where we're seeing prices coming down and price cuts and stale listings, etc.?
I think once the mortgage rates straighten out, that stuff's gone.
Okay.
It's completely gone. But it's like I got a $950,000 buyer right now who wants basically anything along the 680 corridor. There are 2 houses for sale right now.
In his price range?
1,000. That's his price range.
Yeah. So there's 2 houses in that price range. So he could spend more and get one, but he can't spend less.
Right.
Yeah.
There are 2 houses at $950,000 from the Martinez Bridge all the way down to the 580.
What do you mean? Like, he wants to be close to the freeway? Like, because there's definitely houses in Concord.
Well, he doesn't want Concord. But every other town.
Okay.
Every other town.
I hate when people say that because I
know.
see that in myself, and I used to be like, I'm not going to live in that ghetto, you know?
But it's a great town. The thing
And I
about
love Concord now, and I used to come to Concord and think, no, because I lived in Walnut Creek. I lived in a crappy apartment in Walnut Creek, and I used to think Concord was ghetto.
Yeah.
And then I ended up moving to Concord, and I just fell in love with it. I think Concord's just an amazing city now.
It's the people.
It's the people are amazing, and it's a beautiful town, and it's a spread out urban area. You're not congested.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a great, it's wonderful, honestly.
It's a great place.
And it's not ghetto. I mean, it's just
No.
It's just
I mean, it's like every other town. We've got definitely parts of town that aren't great, but it's like, I mean, our contractor lives next door to you,
But I'd say I was conditioned because I had been living in Walnut Creek in a crappy apartment, so I was the ghetto one, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, you're around these people that are abnormally rich, right? I mean,
Right.
This is not the normal working class person that has a single family home in Walnut Creek.
Right.
And so you sort of get conditioned to a certain lifestyle and a certain type of a class of people and look of a house, et cetera. And then when you get around like the people that live in Concord are normal people. Like we go to work every day.
Right.
You know what I mean? We put on our boots, we tie our shoes, we go out and we swing hammers. We do things that make a difference in the community.
It's kind of funny because there's one of the groups, I think it's on Nextdoor. I don't know where it is. Anyway, there's this one woman that always comes in and recommends stuff, and she is clearly functioning from a different level than everybody else in there. And it's like,
in a bad way.
she is clueless, but it's like, and every time I look at what she says, I'm like, oh my God, lady, read the room, And she'll mention something where, I'll just be sitting there like,
Give me an example of something like she recommends something only rich people would pay for.
exactly.
Like what?
She was talking about some issue with her BMW, right? And I'm thinking,
BMW.
and I'm sitting there reading it, and I, at the time that I was reading that particular thing, I owned a BMW, and I never would have said that. Because it's like most of the people don't own BMWs, and, it's these guys that are reading this are, the guys are driving pickup trucks to work and the ladies are driving Civics and Accords and shit like that. And I'm like, oh my God, lady, read the room. But when it comes to Concord, it's just like, I mean, my neighborhood, you've been in my neighborhood, everybody comes out and yaks in the street,
Yeah.
you know?
And we've had a lot of urban sprawls. I mean, we do have a lot of rich people in Concord now, but I mean, you do have a strong contingency of just good working class people.
Just normal people.
Normal people, yeah, for sure. Can we?
We are going to call ourselves normal.
We'll see how far that goes.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Can we try everything naughty?
You've been after this one.
Oh, it's a stout. It looks good.
It had all the right words in it when I was looking at it. So this is Everything Naughty is a white chocolate imperial blonde stout.
Wow. I didn't
And
know all those things could go together.
we might as well say night because this is a 9.5er.
Good grief. I have to go do music rehearsal in my church in like 40 minutes.
You are going to be awesome. Look how light that bag
I saw this meme today from the Babylon Bee, which I have to say, they are funny. Like, they can be controversial sometimes, but they say some really funny stuff. And the meme was this picture of this, like scrawny white boy holding his guitar, like, sitting down, like, in front of his house, like, leaning back, going, "Worship director can't decide which beautiful Christmas hymn to butcher this." And I'm just dying, because, you know, like, we have so many, you know, beautiful songs to choose from, and there's just, like, a million versions of these songs, right? So, like when we went to church and we're doing, one of the songs we're doing is actually really cool. I think we're doing "Hark the Herald Angels Sing."
I love that song.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
But we're doing, is that the one that we're doing this, like, country bar version of? And it's, like, got, like, blues notes in it. It's like, "Hark the angels sing glory." It's, like, really, like, and it actually, I just made it sound awful, but it actually sounds fun. I don't think it's Hark, though. I think it's a different one, but it's like that. And I was like, totally not what I expected, but I learned it because people were into it. It's fun. It's high energy, whatever it is, the twist. But this is what they mean. You know, you take something that's sang for, you know, hundreds of years, and you go, okay, we're gonna turn it into a bar song.
All right, and no better way to do it than a 9.5 stout. So Everything Naughty. There you go.
Tell us about this. Oh, you did tell us about the stout. It's an imperial blonde stout, imperial white chocolate blonde stout. That's such an oxymoron.
Who makes this thing? What sick bastards put this together? Oh, it's out of New York. I love it. Cooperstown, New York, and Kansas City, Mo.
Whoa. Okay.
Really?
Yeah. Man, you did a good job today.
Holy shit.
That's really good.
I'm taking those home. Sorry.
That's okay. Those are really,
there you go. Oh my God, that's good.
That is really good. Okay, tastes like white chocolate.
It definitely has a white chocolate. No bitter.
No bitter.
No bitter.
It tastes like a fat wash when they do like a cocktail fat wash, like in milk fats or something. There's like just a butteriness. You don't have the dairy proteins getting in there, but like you've got this beautiful like soft butteriness that comes from the white chocolate, which is the fat from the cocoa bean. That is just delightful.
Oh my God. Oh, it's the OMG series. No shit. The Naughty Elves were spotted in Cooperstown not long ago, full of mischief and mayhem. Well, no wonder. Which left us, much to our delight, with an Imperial Blonde Stout. Everything Naughty. A stout that confuses the eyes and tantalizes the taste buds. Sure does. Anticipate notes of roasted coffee.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get that?
No, but the chocolate could be like covering that.
And white chocolate complete with a brilliant gold hue.
I mean, what I'm getting on this,
I said it golden hole.
What I'm getting, when you smell it, you smell hops and white chocolate, and when you taste it, you taste white chocolate. The white chocolate flavor is unmistakable.
A rich stout is smooth and velvety. Yes, it is, with classic stout flavors.
I taste a little bit of coffee, but I think that's coming from the chocolate.
It says, "Welcome to the naughty list." Hell yeah!
This is so stinking good. I've got to go pick up some of these. These are ridiculous.
Wow.
I mean, I'm not even a big stout person, but this is not a stout. I mean, it's a stout. It's one describer of this beer, a white chocolate imperial blonde stout. There's just a lot of things happening.
They just threw a bunch. They got drunk and put a bunch of words on the front of
it. They
this.
did a phenomenal job.
Wow.
That's in one of the top holiday beers I've ever tried. Top.
Oh, definitely. You can drink that for breakfast.
That is so good. Wow. Okay. Well, what's our outlook? What's our advice for buyers and for sellers in 2025?
Well, I think once the initial shock of, Jerome Powell shit in the bed gets past, I think rates will settle down. I mean, we just looked at the 10-year and it was at 4.51. And that would be at like 6 o'clock.
That needs to go down. That's brutal. That is brutal.
Yeah. So that 6.51, it broke through all the, it should have stayed around tops 4.3, and it blew through there. I don't think it stays there. I think it settles around 4.25, 4.29 tomorrow. And then I think everything starts settling out. We're heading into, I can't remember, is the stock market closed between Christmas and New Year's? I think it is.
You were the stockbroker, I don't know.
I know, and I can't remember.
Well, what's interesting is like we're clearly addressing, like I said, and we've talked about this ad nauseum, but we're clearly addressing like a supply side inflation problem.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like we have much of a supply side problem right now. So if we unburden Americans by lowering rates and making mortgages more affordable, do we really feel like we're going to lead to more inflation? Because the initial inflation, I mean, it came after the Build Back Better bill, and that just had like a lot of money that was just given to people, and so there's a huge cash influx, and that backfired. But it was coupled on top of it was the straw that broke the camel's dam, just broke open, everything was terrible.
We're just mixing all our metaphors.
But I wanted both of those in there, but yeah, you know what I'm saying. That'd be funny.
Let's throw 5 more metaphors in there.
Yeah. But that was really kind of like how it all started, and then there's this roaring back, people had all this cash, and there was no supply side. Like there was not enough supply to build, to remodel, to build appliances. I mean, everything. Oil production was low, but a lot of that stuff has really come roaring back.
Yeah.
We've been far enough removed. So if we take the seatbelt off and we lower the rates and we let the economy come roaring back, we're really afraid that now people have the money and the supply can't keep up with it, and we're going to face the same situation. Because we definitely dealt with, to steal your words, a secular inflationary problem, not a cyclical one.
Yes.
And I feel like we're outside of that asteroid hitting us.
I don't think so, because like I said, the inventory's not there yet.
Inventory, you mean in housing?
Yeah.
I mean, but for like actual supplies, for like, lumber and for chips and for...
I know, we're getting custom doors in 7 days.
So that's back. So
for my project.
So people are working, they're building stuff, they're keeping up with demand.
Yeah, I know. I thought he was going to tell me 8 weeks on the door, and I was going to have to kill him. And he came back and he's like, no, 7 to 10 days. And I was like, shit. No.
So I guess is there an argument to say, like, give the people their money back and let them go out and buy things, and that won't cause inflation because suppliers are supplying things.
Yeah, and the economy is going to start moving again.
Yeah.
Well, it has been. I mean, even Jerome Powell said it was strong today. I mean, he did say we have a strong economy.
Well, he's looking for the labor market to break, and we had a really good jobs report came out a couple of weeks ago, which I'm always really... It
keeps not break... Well, and they revise it, and, since Nixon, they've been revising it,
Yeah, but they've done a lot of revisions this year. But I was going to say that, but I never trust the ones around this time of year, because I don't think they can really accurately delineate holiday jobs versus non-holiday. They call them seasonal.
I think it's hard to tell the difference.
I think so too, because it's always inflated. And you're like, did we really get like that many more jobs in December? Like, it's not that easy to get a job right now. I mean, depending on the job, right? I mean, you can go get a job at Macy's, I'm sure. I mean,
I don't know if I could get a job at Macy's.
You have a Russian accent. They like to hire like Russian women for some reason. Every time I go buy a suit, there's like some nice Russian lady comes up to me and sells me.
Sells you a suit?
Hugo Boss, yeah.
Okay. Nice.
The Germans make this brand, but I like it. That was a complete bastardization of all my Eastern European accents, I'm sorry.
What else can we screw up today?
Probably a lot.
I know. We keep drinking this 9.5er. We got it.
Oh, man. This is going to put me in the tank. This is good. This is really stinking good.
I know you're looking forward to butchering some Christmas music.
I am, actually. I am.
I think we have... I saw a stat, I think it was last week, that like 60 some odd % of the buyers right now don't have somebody under 18 in the house.
Wow. That's a California stat?
No, that's a national stat.
Well, yeah, because I don't see how you could afford to have children and buy a house right now. I mean, I bought this house for $550.
Yeah.
My payment was $3,900, okay? Then I refinanced and got it down to like $3,100. You cannot buy a house today and have a payment with a 3 in front of it. And if you have a child, so let's say your payments can be in the 4s, you also can't buy a single family home in Concord for in the 5s, right?
No, you've got to have at least a 6, probably a 7.
Yeah, so I mean, it just doesn't make a lot of sense. And I mean, I have a child, I understand how it goes. They're expensive. They drink a lot of milk.
Expensive little shit.
You've got to buy expensive foods for them, and then they throw it on the ground.
And I'm bitter.
I'm not bitter about that.
Don't throw that down to your ground. I paid good money for that.
Oh my God. She sees the dog come over. She's like, the dog's gotten so used to it. She knows when the baby's eating, the dog's going to get food. Yeah. So like last night, I was really mad at the dog because she had like spaghetti in her hands, and she's like, about to put spaghetti in her mouth. And the dog came over and like bit it out of her hand. And then she got upset because the dog bit her hand. And I was like, "Bagel, bagel." I made her go sit, and I'm doing crate training again.
Yeah.
So I got to back because she the crate works well for her. But my dog Sheila, Valerie knows Sheila really well. She's a corgi mutt. She's really smart. She's really clever. Clever is the word. Like, she knows how to get what she wants. So we're also feeding her a little more now because I noticed that she's skinny.
I live with Dobermans.
Oh yeah, so
I'm the dumbest guy in my own house.
She figured out how. So we have a little enclosure pen for the baby over there. I think I told you this. And there's
I saw her do it.
A little half moon zip.
Yep.
She knows how to unzip it. She goes and grabs it in her mouth and unzips it because she goes inside. The baby will be snacking on something, and the baby will give her whatever the snack is. And yesterday, the baby was eating chips. No, 2 days ago, the baby was eating chips, and I would give the baby chips, and she would take a bite of it, and then she'd look at the dog. She'd let the dog take a bite of the chip, and then she'd eat the rest. It's like, do not do that. What are you doing?
I don't even do that.
Yeah.
And everybody knows how much I love my dogs.
Yeah. I know, right?
I'm like,
but she has no concept of like germs and dog slobber and
Yeah, no.
No, my dog wants my chip.
All right.
I think
we've deteriorated appropriately.
Yeah. All right. Well, good podcast. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. Happy holidays. If I don't see anybody after this.
All the things.
All the above.
All the things.